want you to bring your sit bones onto the mat. We're going to start in a forward fold. So extending the legs long, remove any extra flesh from underneath the sit bones. Lengthen the spine, reach up on an inhale. You can gaze up. And on an exhale, finding a forward fold over the legs. This can be a passive fold to start. The hands can either come to the shins or onto either side of the legs onto the mat. If you have the space and depth, catch the feet. And then on an exhale, fold deeply here. You can let the head drop. In this pose, I like to really think about drawing my core, using the core to draw the belly towards the thighs. If it's okay for the neck, you can allow the forehead to come towards the knees, opening up through the cervical spine as well. And that's okay if your pose doesn't look quite as deep as mine yet. Still early in the practice, just allowing the hamstrings to warm up in their own time. I'm going to stay here for 2 more breaths, finding a little bit more activeness in this pose. Draw the belly up and in, and then using the core, draw the chest towards the thighs. You can use your hands, if they're wrapped around the feet, to find a little bit more depth. Inhale, come all the way up. Cross at the ankles. We'll make our way into tabletop. Warming up the spine with a few cat-cows. So starting with cow, drop the belly. Inhale, look up. Really arching through the back. And then exhale to round. Draw your belly button in and up. Press the mat away. Gaze drops. Inhale, belly drops. Gaze lifts. You can open through the throat. Exhale to round. Really widening the shoulder blades here. Press, press, press. Last time, with a big inhale, looking up. And a big exhale, pressing the mat away. Coming to sit onto curled toes now, finding a toe squat. I like to take my pinky toes and pull them out. I'm just sitting comfortably onto the heels, and then reach your arms out into a T. I want you to flex the palms, so like you're pushing the left and right sides of the walls away from you. Sit up tall, and then we're just going to rotate our fingers forward, keeping your arms straight, and then again rotating them back. So opening and closing those shoulder muscles. So internal rotation, send the fingertips up to the ceiling, and then send them back behind you. External rotation. Let's do this 10 more times. A little bit quicker. So internal, turn the fingers back. Let's count 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release. Roll the shoulders out. Keep the toes curled under. Reach the arms out again. And I want you to spread the fingers open really, really wide. And then squeeze, make a fist. We're going to warming up the wrists here. Again, open. Really accentuate this openness and really tighten the fist. And we're going to do that 20 times. So open, close, open, close. Keep going at your own pace. I'm going to count 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. Release, roll out those shoulders, untuck the toes, and just coming to sit onto the heels. Lolasana, warming up that core. Bring those palms on either side of the knee. Spread the fingers open wide. We're going to draw the belly towards the thighs. Elbows are deeply bent. I'm just going to go ahead and press through the palms, straighten the arms, and lift the knees. Ankles are loose here. Engaging the core, pulling those knees up tight. Keep pulling them up and in. Holding this for 10, 9, keep holding, 5, 2, and release. Let that go. You can roll out or flick out the wrists or roll out the wrists. And then from here, we need to extend the arms forward. You're going to cross. So reaching the arms forward, just going to cross so that the palms come together. Making this twist here with the arms, still sitting onto the heels. And then we're just going to inhale, lift the hips up, reach the arms up. The arms are still intertwined. Press the heart forward. On an exhale, sit the hips down, flip the palms up, and then fold forward. And do that 5 more times. Unwind, reach the arms up as you lift the hips. Exhale, twist on the way down, bow the head. Inhale, unwind, lift, reach. Exhale, twist, flip, fold. 2 more times. Unwind, reach, lift, press heart forward, twist, flip, fold. Last time, unwind, reach, press the hips up, lift the chest, reach the arms away. Exhale, twist, flip, and fold. Unwind the arms. From here, palms onto the earth, about shoulder distance apart, curl the toes under. We're going to find our downward facing dog. So curl the toes under, feet are about hip width apart. And ease those hips up and back. Perhaps this is your first down dog of the day, so taking this time to maybe take some movement, pedal it out. If you're someone who likes to come right into stillness, that's okay too, and listening intuitively to your body. But really finding some engagement here into the base. So the energy of the heels is headed towards the earth. We need to begin to hide the heels behind the calves. So if you can see the heels, maybe sending the heels to the corners of the mat to hide them. Press the palms into the earth, weight into the index mound and the thumb. And sending your belly and chest towards your thighs. Press like you're opening up a heavy door. And then gaze forward. Come high up onto the toes. Big step forward to the top of the mat. Find a halfway lift. Bring the palms into the shins. Lift the chest. Belly draws up and in. And then deep forward fold. Uttanasana. Inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Bring the palms to close. And then dive forward. Let's do that again. Inhale, halfway lift. Fold forward. And then inhale the arms all the way up. Finding Utkatasana, chair pose. Bend deep through the knees. Reach the fingertips up. Gaze down. So I like to have my toes and my knees touching, a little easy space between the heels. Slight tuck in my tailbone. And always drawing that belly up and in. Reaching the arms up. Send the weight into the heels. Gaze down. If you can't see your toes, you want to shift the weight back. And then from here, lift up, come high up onto the tippy toes. Reach the arms out into a T, like you're spreading wings. Press your heart forward. And then dive forward. Let the heels melt to the earth. Fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Plant your hands, step back to plank. Listen carefully, we're going to modify this chaturanga, but not modified as in easier, just modified as in different. Lower down, chaturanga, hold. 3, 2, 1. Uncurl the toes, inhale, upward facing dog. Heart presses forward, press the tops of the feet, shins and knees have lifted. Keep the toes uncurled. Press the hips up like somewhere between a plank and a down dog pose here. I've heard this pose called tiger before. And then let the knees come to the earth. Curl the toes under. Send the hips back like a modified child's pose. Straighten the arms. And then lift them up. Downward facing dog. All right, from here, gaze forward, high up onto the toes. Step, hop, walk, float to the top, halfway lift. And fold, Uttanasana. Reach the arms all the way up. Look up, gaze up, stand tall. Dive forward. Halfway lift, palms to the shins or to the earth. Plant your hands. Step or hop back. Listen carefully. Plank. Hold this plank. Lower down halfway. Chaturanga. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Uncurl the toes. Lift the heart. Upward facing dog. Keep the toes untucked. Push up, tiger pose. Rounding through the spine here like you're in a cat pose here with the upper back. Let the knees come to the earth. Curl the toes under. Push back. Modified child's pose. This is not passive here. Really actively pressing those palms into the earth. And then lift the hips up and back. Downward facing dog. Again, work here in this pose. Press the palms into the earth. Send that chest towards the thighs. Maybe even lifting up the toes here will help send the energy of the heels towards the earth. Now lift the heels, gaze forward, step, walk, hop, or float to the top. Find your Ardha Uttanasana, your halfway lift. Lengthen through the crown. Fold, Uttanasana. Reach up, stand tall, gaze lifts. Dive forward. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, halfway lift. Plant your hands, step back to that plank. Hold your plank. Lower down, Chaturanga, halfway. Hold this. 3, 2, 1. Uncurl the toes. Upward facing dog. Heart presses forward. Toes stay curled under. Push up, tiger. Really rounding through the spine here. I'm going to press the toes into the earth. Really active all the way from the feet to the crown of the head. And then gently let the knees come down. Tuck those toes under. Push back. Modified child's pose. Push the palms. Send the hips up and back. Downward facing dog. Settle in. Reset the breath. Reset the pose. You're welcome to call in your Ujjayi breath at any time during the practice. Perhaps now is a good time. Really using the breath as a focal point. When our practice gets intense, we can start to focus on how we're feeling in the negative ways. And if we shift our focus to the breath, it's almost like a distraction. All right, inhale, right leg lifts, 3-legged dog. Lots of options here. We're going to stay here for a little bit. So holding this pose here, you can maybe shift the palms to find a little bit more stability. Spread the fingers. And then if you're feeling balanced, you can bring the left palm to catch the left ankle, if that feels. Release the left hand to the earth. Crunch the right knee into the chest. Hug it in tight. Curl up into a little ball. And then gently, quietly step the foot between the hands. High crescent lunge. Come all the way up. Reach the arms up. Deep lunge into the front knee. And then taking a modification here. Normally I would cue to have the back heel up really high. In this variation, I want you to press the heel down towards the earth. Feel a little bit more of an opening into that left hip flexor. And then open up the arms into wings. Keep pressing the heart forward, sinking the hips low, and sending that back heel towards the earth. Maybe even coming into a little bit of a back bend. Trust yourself to lift your gaze. Holding this for 2 more breaths. Inhale, reach the fingertips all the way up, and then sweep them back behind you. Come high up onto the back toes. Now, runner's lunge, really lengthening through the spine, drawing that right hip back. And then release the hands to the earth. Drop the back heel. So back foot is at a 40, parallel with the back of the mat. Right hand can either come to the fingertips or if you have a block handy, on the inside of that right foot, and then reach the left arm up. Again, if it's okay for the neck, gaze can lift. Keep drawing the hips down and forward. Pressing into the pinky edges of both feet. Every exhale, think about rolling the chest open to the ceiling and sinking the hips. From here, release both fingertips back to the earth. Plant both hands on the inside of that right foot. Pop up the back heel. And then again, just like we did in crescent lunge, send the energy of that back heel towards the earth. And then begin to drop the elbows towards the earth. Maybe they don't come to the earth. Maybe one elbow does. Maybe both. And then if it's okay, you can even begin to bring the forehead and the chest towards the earth. And imagine drawing that right knee into the shoulder. So hugging it in here. And then from here, let that back knee come to the earth. Uncurl the toe, finding our, I'm going to call it King Arthur pose. So crawling the hands all the way up that right thigh. Bend deep through the left knee. Catch the back foot with the right hand. If this is enough, if this is intense enough, quad stretch, you can stay here. Otherwise, let that left hand come to the earth, keeping the shoulders square to the front. Keep sinking the hips down and forward, lifting the chest. Release the back foot. Plant both hands onto the earth. Coming into your half split. So shifting the weight back, straightening through that front leg. Flex the toes. The hips are stacked over the back knee. That front foot is flexed. Hips are about hip distance apart. You can stay up high if you're feeling a big enough stretch here. Or if you've got the space, you can begin to fold forward. Walking those hands back towards the body or even forward. Again, drawing the belly up and in. You can begin to shift that left hip forward, right hip back. Really think about getting long in the spine here. And then from here, release, lift up on an inhale, shift the weight forward. Back toes tuck under. Come all the way up onto that right knee again. Bring the hands heart center. Take a twist towards the right side of the mat, hooking that left elbow. Press the palms together. Begin to find a twist into the spine here. And then take a big inhale, and on an exhale, lift the back knee. Exhale, lift. And again, every exhale, you're twisting deeper here. Back heel is lifted high. Keep pressing those palms together. And release. Frame the front foot. Step back to plank. From here, shift the weight into the right hand. Find Vashisthasana, side plank to the left. Reach the left arm up. Modified. Bring that right knee in and then twist it to the ceiling. Press that right palm in. Gaze up. Hold this. Holding for 5, 4. Keep lifting the hips. 2, 1. Release. Come back to plank. Listen carefully. Lower down. Chaturanga. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Uncurl the toes. Look up. Lift. Up dog. Keep the toes curled under. Finding that tiger pose, press, press, press. Knees come to the earth. Press back as the toes curled under. Modified child's. Lift the hips up, downward facing dog. Let's flow between here. Gaze forward, high up onto the toes. Step, walk, hop, float. Come to the top, fold forward. Reach up, look up. Gaze follows the thumbs. Dive forward. Let's open up. Taking some pressure out of the wrist before we move on to the other side. Finding our gorilla pose here. So bend deep through the knees. Lift up the right foot. Slide the palm. So palm up, back of the hand on the earth, underneath the sole of the foot on both sides. And then I like to, again, knees can be deeply bent to get the toes all the way to the wrist. And then I like to kind of wiggle my toes and massage out those wrists. All right, release. Inhale halfway. Plant your hands. Step back. Plank. Chaturanga. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Uncurl the toes. Lift the heart. Exhale. Tiger. Let the knees come down. Push back with the toes curled under. Lift the hips up. Downward facing dog. Move to the other side now. Left leg lifts. Again, three-legged dog. We're going to be here for a couple of minutes, so you can stay here. Again, if you want to kind of inch your left hand over to the left side of the mat for a little bit more stability. If you're feeling stable, that right hand is going to catch the right ankle. Flex or point that lifted leg. Draw the core up. And then release the hand to the earth. Hug the left knee into the chest. Place the foot between the hands. High crescent lunge. Come all the way up. Send that heel back. Open up the arms. Press the heart forward. Finding this winged action with the arms. Sink the hips low. Keep pressing the heart up, finding a little bit of a back bend here. Inhale, come up. Heel lifts. Finding your runner's lunge. Reach forward. With the crown of the head, fingertips float back like wings. And then release the hands to the inside of that left foot. Drop the back heel, spin it down to the earth, hips sink low. I like to line up my front heel with the back arch. I use a block to bring the earth closer to you. If you don't quite have the opening for extended side angle, reach the right fingertips up. Pressing into the pinky edges, roll the chest up and open. Keep drawing that left hip back. And then from here, both fingertips come to the inside of that left foot. Pop up the back heel. Send that heel towards the earth now. And let the elbows drop to the earth. Finding this gecko pose here. Getting really long in that back leg. Think about lengthening that heel down. Breathe deep. This pose can be intense. And then straightening the arms, letting that back knee come to the earth. Uncurl the toes. Crawl the fingertips up that left leg. Finding our King Arthur pose. Bend through the back knee. And catch the ankle with the left hand. Again, if this is enough in the quad or the hip flexors, stay here. I want you to begin to twist the chest towards the front of the mat. If you've got the space, right fingertips can come down. Sinking the hips. Rolling left shoulder forward and right shoulder back. Release the back foot. Gently let that foot come to the earth. Frame the front foot. As you shift back, finding your half splits here. Flex the toes. Sort of pivoting your nose towards your left toes. Draw the belly up and in. Leading with the chest. Begin to fold forward. I like to almost drag my left heel back. And then using that core to draw the chest towards the thighs. Shift the weight forward, bending deep through that left knee again. Back toe is curled under. Crawl your hands up. Prayer pose with the palms, taking the twist. Hooking that right elbow, press those palms together. Big inhale, lift the back knee. Press, press, press. Twist, lift higher. Unwind, plant the hands, step back to plank, shifting the weight into the left hand this time, Vashisthasana to the right, reach the right arm up, hug that left knee into the chest, and then twist left knee towards the ceiling. Holding this for 5, for 4, 3, lift, 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 2, and 1. Right hand comes to the earth. Let the left foot come down. Chaturanga. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Inhale. Up dog. Regular push back. Down dog. From here, right knee crosses over that left thigh, making a figure 4 with the legs. And then begin to walk the hands to the back of the mat. If this is enough of a stretch here, you can stay here. You can take a deep bend into that left knee, really finding a deeper opening into that right outer hip. Letting the head fall forward. If you want to take an inversion, an arm balance, I should say. Hooking the right toes around that left tricep. Shifting the weight. And then maybe the left toes lift. If you're in the arm balance, letting the toe come back to the earth. And then walking those hands forward. Release. Shake it out. Walk it out. Moving to the other side. Cross that left ankle over the right thigh. Press that left hip back. Walk the hands back. Again, if this is enough for you, you need a little bit more, you can start to take a bend into that right knee. If you want to play with that arm balance. If you're in the arm balance, let your toes come back to the earth. And then walk the hands forward. Release. Down dog. High up onto the toes, gaze forward, hop to the top of the mat. Halfway lift, fold deeply. Active forward fold, peace finger bind. So deep bend into the knees. Take the peace fingers and catch the big toes. Wrap the elbows around the calves. Let the head hang heavy. This is great. If this feels good, stay here. If you have a little bit more space, you can begin to straighten the legs. Maybe you want to shake the head, yes or no. Remember to draw the belly button into the spine here. And then release the left hand. Bring the left fingertips to the increase of the hip, shifting the weight into the left foot. And on an inhale, we're going to rise up, keeping our right big toes connected with our peace fingers. And this is great. If this is enough for you, you can stay here, or you can begin to lift the right heel. Knee can stay bent, or if you've got the space, straighten the leg. Keep lifting higher. Then you can go ahead and open up the right heel to the right. Maybe left fingertips want to come out to the left for counterbalance. And then release, come to center. Hands to the hips, keep that right heel lifted. Lift and hold for 3, 2, 1. Let that foot come down. All right, sticking with this left foot, shifting the weight. Bend through the right knee. Catch the big toe edge of the right foot. So the inside of that right foot. Reach the left arm up, finding your dancer's pose here. So this is great. You can stay here, or if you feel stable and you want to open up, you can begin to find a kick into that right foot, and then the hinge. Release, come back to center, shake it out, reach the arms overhead, get long, look up, dive forward, fold. Stay here in your forward fold, left finger, big toes, left peace fingers catch the big toe, right hand to the hip, shift the weight into the right foot, coming all the way up. Finding hand to foot pose here. Again, maybe you want to lift the heel, straighten the leg, lift up high. Holding this for a couple of breaths. And then opening up to the left. Drop the left hip. And then come back to center slowly. Keep the heel lifted as you bring the left hand to the hip. Holding for 3, 2, 1, and release. Shake it out. Dancer's pose on this side, shifting the weight into the right. Bend through the left knee. Catch the big toe edge, the inside of the foot. And then reach the right arm up. Really grip the right toes into the earth. Find your balance, and then begin to kick. And from the kick, then comes the hinge. Find your drishti, soft, steady gaze. Keep lifting and kicking. And then release. Coming all the way back to center. Let that go. Reach the arms up again. Maybe a little baby back bend at the top. Fold forward. Inhale halfway. Hands to the earth. Step or hop back to your plank. Doing a checklist here. So starting at the heels. Making sure that the quads are engaged. Kneecaps are. Quads are lifted. Belly button drawn in, tailbone tucked. Press the mat away, rounding through the spine. We're going to lower to the count of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All the way down. Bending your Sphinx pose. So shoulders are stacked over the elbows, palms flat on the earth. Press the tops of the feet into the earth first, so shins and knees have lifted, and then I like to find sort of a dragging action. So dragging my hands back as I send my heart forward, really opening up into the upper back. Pubic bone is pressing into the earth. Legs are still engaged. And then keeping that activation into the upper back. I want you to draw the elbows up and back. So a deep bend into the elbows. Palms are flexed and the fingertips are faced up. So it's like a bent wing here. Keep pressing the shoulder blades together. Lifting, lifting, lifting. Holding this for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Let the forehead come to stacked palms. Finding a variation now of shavasana. Reach the arms forward. Palms face each other, thumbs up. The arms are shoulder distance apart. On an inhale, lifting the arms, chest, and the feet off the earth. Go ahead and lift. Really engaging everything. So you can spread the toes or point them. Engage the legs, the glutes. Feeling the lower back starting to fire up. Lifting the chest. Arms lift a little higher. Reach the fingertips away from you. Get really long. Holding this for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release. Come down again. Forehead can rest, or you can rest a cheek on either side. And then finding our upward facing bow pose now. Bend deep through the knees. Catch either the ankles or the tops of the feet. Find a big inhale. On an exhale, begin to press the feet away from the body, lifting. You have lots of options here. You can lift the thighs off of the mat. Keep drawing the chest up and open. Holding this for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release. Bring those hands alongside the shoulders and press up into an upward facing dog. So tops of the feet are pressing. Press the palms. Send the chest through. Quads are engaged. And then push back. Downward facing dog. Again, using this time to reset. Reset the pose. Reset the breath. And let your knees come to the earth now. Uncurl the toes. Finding our lolasana again, just like we did at the beginning of class. So fingertips, or palms, I should say, on either side of the knees. Fingers spread wide. And take a deep bend. Get the belly towards the thighs. And then press. Lift those knees away from the mat. Use your core. Engage. Holding this for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let those knees come down. Cross at the ankles. Send the feet out in front of you. Finding our Paschimottanasana, just like we did at the beginning. Reach the arms up. Fold forward. Active forward fold. So leading with the crown of the head, really using the arms and the core to draw you towards the mat. And then lifting back up, bring those hands on either side of the lower thighs. Lean forward, shift forward, press the palms, lift up the hips. Holding this for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let the hips come down. Bringing those fingertips behind you, finding a reverse plank. So point the toes. Elbows are bent directly behind you. Palms can be slightly out if that's a little bit more comfortable. And then press through the palms, straighten the arms, lift the hips. Gaze can lift. Really strong here. Holding this for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Coming all the way down. And just slide your hips towards the back of the mat. Flip the palms back, and then keep sliding here. It's finding a nice opening into the shoulders. Walk those hands in, finding our butterfly pose at the top of the mat. So soles of the feet together, knees open wide. You can catch the tops of the feet. I like to use my elbows as a self-assist, and as I lift my chest up and shift the weight forward, I begin to gently ease the hips open by pressing the elbows into the knees. Release, come up. I want you to bring the soles of the feet to the earth, a little wider than hip width. Elbows forward, and tuck the backs of the hands into the hip creases and sort of wrap them around the body. And then from here, gently begin to squeeze the knees, opening up into the shoulders. Release. Cross at the ankles. And coming onto the knees. Toes together. Plant the palms. Lift the knees. Crow pose. Spread the fingers open wide. Toes are together. Knees come to the triceps or the armpits, and you're going to lift up the hips. And your hands become your base here. So really gripping the fingertips into the earth. I like to spider my fingertips. You can start on a block, or maybe you just play with just shifting. If you've got your crow, you can go ahead into it. Otherwise, you can play with lifting up one toe and then the other. Maybe both lift. You can move into crane by straightening the arms. Another variation too, if you have your crow, is ankle taps. Trick is to gaze forward so you don't topple over. And then let the soles of the feet come back to the earth. And let the hips come down. Finding our Janusirsana, head to knee pose. Extend the right leg. Bring the left sole of the foot in to that right thigh. All right, in this variation, I'm going to twist towards that left knee. Right hand's going to catch the knee, drop the elbow, reach the left arm up. Left arm can stay straight, or you can even bring the fingertips behind the ears to the back of the head and draw the gaze up. Really opening up through that left side body. If you have the opening, of course, left fingertips can reach for the right toes. Inhale, coming up. Let's switch sides. Left leg extends long. Right sole of the foot comes in. Twisting over the right leg first. Left hand catches that right knee, drop the left elbow, and then right arm reaches up. Gaze lifts. Stay here. You can bend, or reaching that right arm towards the left toes. Inhale to come all the way up. Opening up into a wide-legged seated forward fold. So feet are flexed here. You can slide forward to help with the opening. And then leading with the chest here. Begin to crawl the fingertips forward. Options to stay here. If you've got space, you can come onto the elbows. You can even catch the feet with the arms. We'll stay here for a few breaths. We can allow ourselves to open up a little bit deeper. Drawing you a little bit closer to the earth again, using your core to draw your chest towards the earth. Let the head drop. Keep the feet flexed. Holding this for 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, and 1. Coming all the way up. Beautiful. Again, to draw the heels together. And then just crossing at the ankles, making your way back into your downward facing dog. Right leg lifts. Hug the knee into the chest, making a really tight ball here. And then let the right knee come behind that right wrist. Sending the left leg long, setting up for your pigeon pose. So slight angle with that right knee out to the edge. And then shifting the weight to the center so you're not sitting on that right hip. We want to really find an opening into that outer right hip, maybe even a compression into the inside. If it's too much, place a block under that right hip. You can stay up here to your proud pigeon. You can press the top of the back foot into the earth. Or if you like to come forward onto the elbows, or perhaps resting the forehead onto the backs of the palms or onto the earth. Allowing your body to soften. This posture nourishes the liver meridian and can really hold a lot of tightness into our hips, kind of the junk drawer of the body. It's one of the biggest joints in the body, so taking your time, opening up these postures, opening up these parts of the body, and just knowing that for some of us it comes naturally, the flexibility in our joints and our muscles, and for others we have to work a little harder. So spending a little extra time, perhaps if you're really open in your pigeon pose, you can always draw that right heel up, making more of a number 7 with the right leg, the right shin. And then we'll slowly inhale our way up, extending the left leg and wrapping the left leg around. We're going to take a twist to the left now. So that right sole of the foot is on the mat. Reaching the right arm up, I'm going to twist to the left. Let that left hip, left sit bone drop to the earth, lengthening through the spine. Using that back arm as a kickstand. And then again, that front elbow, self-assist, really hugging that left leg in towards the body, not letting the left sit bone lift. Unwind. Bring that left foot back behind you. Come back onto your knees. Find your downward facing dog. If you like to flow in between, feel free. Otherwise, you can just stay in your down dog. You can shift forward. Chaturanga. Slow back bend. Curl those toes under. Down dog. Again, other side, pigeon, left leg lifts. Hug the knee into the chest, make a tight little ball, and then let that left knee gently come to the earth as you send the right foot back. I'm just noticing the difference on either side, where our bodies look the same on both sides, but they can definitely feel different. And that's okay. So maybe you're a little tighter on this side and you need a block, or maybe you're a little more open on this side and you can draw that left heel up the mat. And then just really settle in, soften the hips, soften the neck. Taking 3 more big controlled breaths here in your pigeon pose. And as you begin to lift the chest, walk those hands back towards the body. Coming to sit on the left sit bone as you draw that right leg all the way around, finding a twist on this side. So right sole of the foot flat, lift and lengthen through the spine. Reach the left arm up, bend the elbow, hook that right knee, and right fingertips reach behind you. Press into the right hand, kickstand, and then hug that right knee into the chest. Gaze can even spin to the back. Just noticing that right hip as it lifted. Can you draw that sit bone towards the earth? Unwind. Come back to center. Cross at the ankles. Plant the hands. Step back. Down dog. Let's take one last flow. Shift the weight forward. Chaturanga. Uncurl the toes. Inhale. Push back. Down dog. Gaze forward, high up onto the toes. Make your way to the top. And heel toe the feet hip distance apart. Wrap the elbows around each other. We're going to find an inversion here. Uttanasana. So ragdoll forward fold. Let the head get heavy. You can take a bend into the knees. We're going to be here for a little bit. Letting those hips be above the heart. And switching up the blood flow a little bit.
Inversions can be quite different than what we traditionally think of it as an inversion. Doesn't necessarily have to be a headstand or a handstand or legs up the wall. It can simply be a standing forward fold. We're changing the direction of blood flow. Maybe you can begin to notice some sensations in the body here after we've hung out here for a couple of minutes. Maybe feeling some blood pumping or some tingling happening. Again, you can find complete stillness here if that's what you're after, if that what feels good, or you want to take a little bit of a sway side to side, that's okay too. But I would encourage you to definitely let the neck relax, let the head get heavy. You find some decompression in the spine here doing that. I'm going to hold this for another 10 breaths. Again, you might already start to feel the sensations, things feeling different in the body. Another 5 more breaths. Really letting everything go. You can even release the arms if you like for the last few breaths. And then slowly, so we don't get dizzy, plant your hands, bend the knees, and let the hips come to the earth. And then we're going to find our way into our final shavasana. And feel the release and the rush of blood circulation after that inversion. And I really encourage you to take a few extra moments here. It can be really tempting to just shut off the video and move on with your day. Shavasana is just as important a posture as any other pose in the practice. We practice so that we can sit in our shavasana. We expend all of that time and energy out of the body so that we can come into complete stillness and silence without thought and distraction and built up energy. So let's take 10 breaths here. And just really melt. Taking one more big controlled breath in and a big sigh out. Wiggle your fingers and toes, rock your wrists and ankles. You can bring yourself to a seated position, or if you want to stay in your shavasana for a little longer, I encourage you to do so. So thank you so much for showing up on your mat and practicing today, and from my heart to yours, namaste.